Now, so therefore we have a lack of quality in terms of ideas being injected into governance.
You know,
so what happens to the followers? How can the followers help to shape the way this thinking or these thought processes can be altered for the benefit of a larger,
we have to invest in thinking. We have to.
Consciously.
Yes, it's not the spur of the moment things. There was an African head of state. The stories have it. And when he was, a group of them, they were shown a minority child, Kwashoko, in a hospital. And one of them said, Kwashoko, let's build more hospitals. And then get all these children into this hospital and treat them. Then another one tapped him, my brother, head of state, what they need is good food. If they have good food,
they will not get into the hospital.
They won't
get to this state.
They won't be sick. That this bloating you see can be prevented. So it's like saying because people have cholera, go and build hospitals and give them drip. Whereas the source of water supply is what is bad. Give them potable water. Cholera will disappear. A thing of the past. And teach them proper hygienic practices. Under 5 mortality and morbidity will drop. Those children will live longer. So it is to look at those soft areas that will make a difference and put the little resources
we have
and see. So you get what I'm saying. So all of us, I always tell people, each time we are in a decision-making process and brilliant ideas have come, I say, okay, first, is it an emergency? It is not an emergency. So must we conclude this conversation today? They say no. If we don't have to conclude
today,
so we've agreed, so we don't have to take a final decision. What are the alternatives to these other solutions we have told? So when you look at the 7-10, and that is why people now begin to talk of cost effectiveness. Cost effectiveness. And when you look at the cost effectiveness, look, pipe-borne water. There are countries in this world where they use bamboo
to run the water.
And we have bamboo. We don't know what to do with them. So why can't we?
In this environment, yes.
Why can't we use? So for me, those are the kinds of things. But somebody says, no, let us use steel pipe. No, somebody says, let's use plastic. They forget that the steel pipe will corrode.
And the plastic will heat up.
And then when the steel pipe corrodes, in 5 years,
it poisons the water.
It blocks the water. So all these things happen. So we start something, and you want to construct a building. We have challenge with electricity. We have challenge with it. You want a 7-story building. There's no escalator. Maybe you use one, there's poor maintenance. Then somebody's office is on the 7th floor. The person comes to work and stays on the ground floor and says, bring the files, I will be treating them from the ground floor. They say, but sir, or ma, some people are waiting to see you. He says, tell them to come to the reception downstairs because I cannot go up. And for those kinds of people, we didn't think of a ramp. We have over 10% of our population being people with disabilities.
Yes.
Who need access, either because they are partially sighted or they are hard of hearing or they can't move. We don't factor them into our development. And then we build, we construct, we launch, we do everything and we go. And they tell you the staggering figure. And you ask, if they had spent another $500,000 naira, they would have made this building eternally user-friendly. So these are the kinds of things, So we just need to. And my brother and all Nigerians know we are not doing something new. It's not even innovative. We are saying let us do things well for the good of all.
Now, it is this good of all that many of us are a little bit worried about. Some of the issues that you have raised, they are very germane. Now, I wonder, do we have such positions or such opinions being canvassed at this national dialogue? Do we have anybody actually looking at some of these critical elements that you have raised?
You know, the
here?
national conference, it has its strength, has its weaknesses, has its opportunities, has its strengths. The national conference, I believe, can become our opportunity to generate or to put on the table workable ideas that will make Nigeria run. To put on the table.
It's an opportunity for that, a window.
Yes. But will it translate to that? That's what I can't guarantee. The reasons are very obvious, and you and I know. There's no enabling law that sets
To
up
back up.
whatever they are doing. So it's a discussion group set up by Mr. President to generate ideas for the nation. And we still have the National Assembly. You know, will the National Assembly
Accepts.
take their report? Have the National Assembly been disposed in the past to taking other reports, waste reports? There are many reports. The Truth and Reconciliation Committee that we had, have they looked at those reports and say, okay, these are things. So we have many ideas on the table. It is another set of contributory ideas that Nigeria will have on the table. But I know quite a few, especially from civil society. I was speaking with one of them yesterday, and quite a number of them sounded like they really want to
See the change.
use this platform to push forward those ideas that, if we embrace, will help us.
Now, the flip side of this is the fact that the younger generation will appear or will seem to have been totally disconnected from the way forward for Nigeria. So I'm saying, what does that do to their mental health? What does that do to their, you have mentioned the question, the issue of identity crisis, you know. So what does it do? I mean, how prepared psychologically will the Nigeria of 15, 16-year-old today be in the next 20 years?
You know, there are two ways to it. First, you can look at the composition of the constitutional, the National Conference group, and truly you will say that the young people are underrepresented. But the truth of the matter is because of also the style that they have adopted for the conference. Every reasonable young person is busy doing something, cannot give 3 months of his or her time
To start talking.
You can't take them out of school. You can't take them out of their vocation. You can't take them out of anything. The young people communicate and converse in a different way. So what I expect Mr. Presidency and the presidency to do is to set up an alternative platform.
Where they can share their own.
Don't be surprised that Nigerian young people can create a dialogue amongst 10 million of them using the social media. And they will take each of those issues
and thoroughly
and come up
with
with
their own.
their recommendations, their agreement. We went to the United Nations in September for this Commission on Population and Development. Before then, towards post-2015 development agenda, Nigerian youth have done a national survey saying what they want. And they did not spend
3 months
no.
in any location.
They did not spend 1% of what the national conference budget
It's going to cost.
is going to cost. These surveys were run by youth corpers, and they went into several communities in Nigeria. They spoke with households, they spoke with young people. They've listed the first 15 issues that affect them. You know, so these things can happen. This is what I was telling you about, alternative ways of solving problems. I can't take 3 months out of my life at my age to go and sit in one meeting that will be another meeting to another meeting to another meeting. It's not possible, but I can impute. So we need to look for
alternatives,
those alternative ways that are cost effective. And if we are sincere as a nation, machinery can be put in place now, and this can happen.
Now,
and you know why this is very critical? That a young person who is 10 years today, who will be 40 in 30 years, can own all the processes that will lead to that Nigeria that will emerge at that time.
Well, the Nigeria that's going to emerge at that time will seem to be, right now, is bogged down by the for the lack of a better word, the insecurity that is across the country. Now we have just a few minutes to go. But how do you begin to react to claims by some people that the Boko Harams, the Niger Delta militants and all that, these are products of either the drug infestation or some, exploitation by some rich persons and all that? How do we react to that? Because these are young persons being used for all these nefarious activities.
Who is educating them? Are they the ones educating themselves? Who is mobilizing them? They are being mobilized. They are tools. The culprits are yet to be identified. Are those people who are misinforming, misdirecting them? Young people are very gullible. Their risk perception is poor. All you need is, and once they key in, and this is the issue of identity crisis I was telling you about. If I believe in you, if you are my dad or my mom or my uncle, and I see you that after God, you are the next person, and you tell me, do not shake anybody who is left-handed. Any left-handed person, do you think I will shake them? If I come across them, I won't. I won't shake them, because that authoritative figure, that significant figure in my life has convinced me, has told me, and might have even added another myth to it, that if you shake them,
you become left-handed.
Everything about you will be going left. So do you understand? So we need to understand these things.
Well, I don't know where we're going to hang this. Dr. Wemedimo SCX has done marvelous exposition on all these issues.